want you to really raise your hands high. How many of you here have lost family members as a result of violence, like I did? Raise your hands high. See, now if you look around you, see how many people have hands up? Keep your hands up, okay? Keep your hands up. There's so many of you know the pain that I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. What would you do if your brother or your sister was murdered?
Shoot and kill Mr. Camisa during the attempted commission of a robbery. Is that correct?
Yes.
TKF was formed 17 years ago after the tragic death of a local college student at the hands of a 14-year-old gang member. Today, TKF is an incorporated San Diego nonprofit guided by a mission to transform destructive youth behaviors and create safer schools. TKF has learned that the solution to youth violence requires a public health approach that incorporates practical, mission-driven, and community-oriented strategies.
Time now for our Friday Making a Difference report and the story of a man whose capacity for forgiveness is astonishing. He suffered the worst loss a parent can ever face, and yet he decided to turn his grief into something positive for himself and a troubled young man. Here's NBC's John Larson.
A documentary began the story like this.
14-year-old Tony Hicks shot and killed 20-year-old Tariq Camisa.
A 14-year-old murders a promising young college student for the cost of a pizza and becomes the youngest child in California history charged as an adult with murder and gets life in prison.
It was like a nuclear bomb going off in my heart.
Azim Camisa, the father of the victim, buried his only son Tariq according to their Muslim custom. He climbed down into the muddy grave. It had been raining, and they lowered his son's body wrapped in a white cloth down into his open arms.
Yeah, I didn't want to live there alone. I stayed there a long time. When something bad happens, you can stop that bad from happening to other people.
But when he finally came up, he did something remarkable.
It is wrong to lie, to cheat.
First, he forgave the family of the killer.
It was a defining moment in my life.
Only through that forgiveness,
which in turn helped Azim start the Tariq Camisa Foundation, speaking together to more than 1 million children about the real pain of violence.
Here at TKF, we passionately believe violence is a learned behavior that can be changed. No child was born violent. Nonviolence has to be taught if we want to improve the health and well-being of our young people. TKF conducts a comprehensive safe school model that focuses on stopping youth violence. The model is a cost-effective continuum of evidence-based violence prevention services that include school assemblies, class curriculum, skill development groups, mentoring, and community service.
The TKF mentors really become a personal friend to these students, to the extent that they finally have a person that they can confide in, that they can show someone that can show some compassion to them, that doesn't necessarily judge them based on their grades or how they look or what neighborhood they live in. And I think that truly gives hope to our students.
I think that it's very empowering for a kid to see someone like them that grew up in their neighborhoods say that it's possible. And I think that's very, very empowering for these kids because they're looking at a living example of what it's like and that it is possible to choose a different way, to make a different choice. And if we teach these kids that they do have choices with these really important issues that are affecting them on a daily basis, that it'll empower them to be a stronger person.
All of our service interventions teach the principles of nonviolence. We accomplish our mission by working in partnership with San Diego County middle schools. We focus our programs at this age level because research conducted by the National Institutes of Health and the Center for Disease Control have identified adolescents ages between 11 and 15 as the peak onset time for youth violence and the primary time for prevention.
For my kids, I've seen a lot of big changes. I was at one of the schools with one of the biggest gang problems. So my kids, I would say that they changed their mentality about that, have kind of matured and grown up, and sort of have seen a future for themselves in higher education. And now I'm seeing them that they want to graduate high school and they want to go to college, and that's like the biggest change that I've seen.
TKF teaches peace by showing them that it's okay to forgive. You can't just learn that. I mean, teaching it takes time and it takes dedication. And I think that TKF is definitely making a difference. So it's definitely a life-changing organization, a life-saving organization.
Marcellus would, when he started changing and turning things around, he would come in and he'd share with me something positive that he had done. It went from all these negative things that I've done to, look at all these positive things I've done. And when I say he turned things around, he went from being arrested and suspended to not even one lunch detention.
If I forgive someone, it comes back to me. Forgiveness comes back to me. Forgiving is another piece of your heart.
I've learned that I can be way more respectful than I've ever been, because I used to always have an attitude and be mean and whatnot. But yeah, I see that I've changed.
Well, to me, Circle of Peace is like a place and like a group of people that I can actually trust, and I know I could tell them anything, and they help me and they give me like new ways to help other people.
I really didn't feel like I'm important, like nobody even cares. Yeah, so I didn't feel like I really mattered what I did. Now that I'm a peace ambassador, I feel that about myself, that I matter more and people care more.
Even though I was out of the gang and for a long period of time, I still had hatred, and I still not necessarily wanted revenge, but I still had not forgiven certain people for the damage or the hurt that they had caused. And at the same time, I had not forgiven myself for certain things that I had done, and I had hurt certain people. So for that same reason, TKF has helped me myself forgive myself for those things, as well as the person who pulled the trigger and took my brother's life.
TKF is consistently measured for results with an eye towards improvement, validation, and replication. TKF's 2012 evaluation results found our school-based interventions reduced incidents of student misconduct by 64%. This is a significant level of positive change in the efforts to improve student behavior and have safer schools. TKF is proving to be an innovative solution to youth violence.
I don't know in this day and age of such limited resources and evaporating more quickly each and every quarterly fiscal report, I don't know what we would do without TKF in our schools.
Through funding partnerships with organizations, TKF can continue to dedicate its organizational development and community commitment to inspiring youth to make healthier, nonviolent choices.